edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is doing everything they can to help Degen's only cash big, including a 50% deposit bonus on your first match. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code SGP to get a 50% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is a new daily fantasy sports app built specifically for player props. Download the app in the App Store and use promo code SGP for an instant deposit match up to $50. That's thrivefantasy.com, promo code SGP. Sign up and prop up today. We're also brought to you by Ace Per Head. Ace is the leader in pay per head providers, and they make it super easy to start your own sports book. Plus, Ace is offering up to 6 weeks free over to aceperhead.com/SGP. That's aceperhead.com/SGP. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money greens. My partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer dog?
Big up, Sean. Big ups. Big Sunday. I am tired as fuck right now, but I'm bringing the energy because my bank account is flush.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I mean,
holy shit!
I'm exhausted from a crazy week 8, but man, I'm looking at our numbers right here, neck to neck. Ryan, going into the Monday night game, I'm 9-4 against the spread. You're 9-4 against the spread. You hit your lock.
Hello.
I hit my lock.
Hello.
You hit your money line dog.
Hello.
I hit my money line dog. And I, of course, parlayed the money line dogs, Miami and Denver. Yes, please. Plus 500.
Well, I gave that out, Sean, as a parlay on Let It Ride. If you haven't listened to the debut episode,
yes,
the content might be a little stale because we are picking games from the weekend, but you would hear me give out a money line, a sweet money line parlay of Denver and Miami. You'd also hear me kick Colby's fucking ass.
You don't have a problem, no need to feel lonely. Everyone is family when it's Degen's only. Making picks to get you off the schneid. It's time to let it ride.
I love the jingle.
Jingle's awesome. Just had to drop it there. And yeah, if you missed it on YouTube, still fun to check out. Kramer and Colby went head to head, and we're going to be getting listeners, hosts of SGPN shows going head to head in a fun little Let It Ride game show. Oh man, so much to get to, Ryan.
Let's do it.
NFL Week 8. I'm looking at our Circa contest picks, Ryan. 26-13-1 against the spread. Oh my God. Now imagine if you just went over to mybookie.ag and played all those bets, you'd be up a sizable amount right now. I'm exhausted. That Eagles game took a lot out of me, but you know what? I still have what it takes. I'm rocking the Reggie White jersey.
Play through the pain.
Much like Reggie White, I'm bringing the heat. But yeah, dominating year so far in the NFL, picking games against the spread. Not to my own horn, but my locks are hitting 75%, 6-2 against the spread. What more do you guys want? And all these picks, all these locks, they're completely free. And you know what else is free? A sweet deposit bonus over at mybookie.ag. Promo code SGP. Head over to mybookie.ag. Get a sweet deposit bonus. Up to 50% of your initial deposit bonus. Promo code SGP. Where you can, of course, play, win, and last but not least, get paid. Where do we start? Yes.
We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch.
Yeah.
You're into that kind of thing? I guess we'll answer questions if you got them.
Yeah, everyone.
We'll do our best.
Feel free to chime in over on the YouTubes, and make sure to check us out on Twitter at Gambling Podcast. Do the live pregame show. That's where we specifically answer all the player.
What time can people find the pregame show?
Pregame show 9 a.m. East Coast or West Coast time. And shout out to Trenton Spear checking in live on the YouTube. You guys were fire this week. We sure were.
Hot. I know this is the post game show,
yes,
Sean, but let's not leave the pregame show yet, because not only did we debut Kramer Centric's total of the week, which by the way, you would have middled if you played the under early in the week, under 54. That's what it was in the Capper Cup. The over 49 I gave out Sunday morning. That's why you got to play numbers, Sean. The best of the number got you to the
like
window.
A professional
also,
handicapper.
I debuted my. Of course, everyone knows I am a kicking specialist. I debuted my kicking specialist angle of the pregame Periscope. And what did I tell you to do? I said go out and fade the long field goals in all 4 windy games. We went 3-1. Ka-ching! I told you we would go 3-1. I mean, at this point, Sean, if you're not smashing the subscribe button, if you're not leaving
what are we doing? And again, appreciate everyone doing what they could to help us conquer the Athletic Football Podcast. We did not do it. We were within 9 spots, so there's still a chance. And again, the chase for the Athletic Podcast starts anew every week here.
And sometimes it's not about conquering the top of the mountain metaphorically. Sometimes it's just about making your presence felt.
Yes.
And now with the pressure on, let's see how the Athletic Podcast
you got to rattle their fucking cages
under pressure, because we are coming for them. Did you already mention the Capper Cup, Sean? Can we tout some more?
Go for it.
I mean, you mentioned the Circa contest, which we're doing fairly well. I mean, picking 67% against the spread. I think that's good. I don't know. We'll have to ask the sharps, because I don't think they did so well this weekend.
No, sharp slayers.
But the Capper Cup, and once again, you can kind of see it. All these sharps dangling around the waters of the Capper Cup. A couple of amateurs, couple podcasts near the top, and once again, Sean, we deliver with a 4-1 week. Doubled up on the Colts. Got that right.
Well, let's get through it. Thursday night game, Carolina 17, Atlanta 25. I don't know what to make of this game. I mean, we were both on the Panthers, but not a very exciting game. Bit gassy.
That's how I felt about that game. That's exactly.
If I don't puke on this show, it's going to be a miracle. Or maybe I will. If I do puke, I will puke into the
puke into
the Dallas sucks jack-o'-lantern. It's not because I'm that drunk. It's just been like I drank a ton today, but I'm no longer drunk. I'm just like already hitting the hangover thing mixed with the California burrito I put down. A full tin of citrus skull, a bunch of Halloween candy, guacamole. It's all kicking around the old stomach, and it's not good. I'm powering through.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Atlanta, maybe they're a good team.
No, I mean, this was just like one of those games where Atlanta was due to finally not blow one of these games. We were on Carolina assuming they would, and they finally just didn't.
What's the number, Sean? 7-1, the underdog on.
Dogs have been barking hard on Thursday night, and Teddy Bridgewater get knocked out of the game. That certainly didn't help there for a little bit, but I don't know. I'm still looking to fade this Atlanta team and Carolina. Frisky in certain spots. I think I nailed them when I said 7-9 this season. That feels where they're going to end up. Indy, Ryan, your lock of the week, 41-21 over the Detroit Lions. Had some scary moments there. I think the Phillip Rivers noodle arm is still something we should be factoring into our handicapping. But
we're gonna the Colts are gonna be a tough team to play against teams that can hit back. I think. But the defense looked great. They were
defense looked great, and Darius Leonard being back in that game. I mean, I think I nailed it. Like we were watching the game. Darius Leonard starts walking up into the A gap. I'm like, oh, Darius Leonard is blitzing. This is going to be great. It makes this insanely athletic play where he climbs over Stafford's back and pokes the ball out. I've never seen something like that. Normally on a strip sack, it's the guy's trying to throw, but Stafford was curled up and he still poked that ball out. Great play. And that's kind of started the unraveling. Stafford also helped him out with the pick 6, but still a little nervous about Indy overall.
I would say good start to the second half of their season.
Yeah. Oakland 16, Browns 6. You had the Raiders. I had the Browns here. I mean, I don't know. This came down to the fact that when Jarvis Landry didn't get that touchdown, where they ruled it a touchdown, then overturned it because the ball hit the ground. Once that happened, it was all right, they're just not going to get this going. Browns had only 6 drives all game versus the Raiders, the fewest in any game in the past 30 seasons. That's insane. And that's probably the story of the game. I mean, wind was insane. They just look like shit.
I was surprised. I thought the wind would affect the Raiders more than the Browns because of the Browns running attack, but it just didn't show up. And again, this was a close your eyes special. The value was on the Raiders here after that kind of strange blowout where they were down 4 going into the fourth, got completely blown out in the fourth against those Bucs. So, yeah, I mean, I was on it purely from like a market play, but it worked out.
Yeah, I was just kind of going on the fact that the Raiders on the road. Baker kind of seemed to have a little bit of mojo going with some of his guys. The Harrison Bryant, the tight end I fell in love with, his fumble, that was brutal.
Here's what we got. I think both of these teams aren't bad teams, and I think we have to start getting okay with the idea that the Raiders are an above average team that's just going to look like shit sometimes when they go up in class, and they're going to look pretty good when they maybe play teams on their level.
Yeah. And certainly the Browns still situationally valuable. They're not the train wreck that they once were. Dolphins 28, Rams 17. Right. The phone was just ringing off the hook because the guy who owns the majority of land on Jared Goff's Sucks Island, it was just flying off the shelves. People were calling, "Can I still get in on the island? Is there still land for sale?" I'm sorry, people. I'm not selling right now. This stock is just off the charts.
And they did it without Tua. Tua didn't look very good at all.
No, Tua didn't look great at all.
But man, this was just, I felt this whole weekend, I felt very proud about my ability to spot a good situation to fade, because this team came out flat and it was just the classic, everything that could go wrong. You have return touchdowns, special teams, everyone was getting involved. And as we're watching the game, I think very early in the game, I said, I hate that we have our money, and I took my dog with Miami. And from that point, they just unleashed a barrage of bullshit. Just bullshit, random situational stuff on this Rams team, and we were just in the studio daring them to let Jared Goff throw, and they did. They fell into the trap. Sean McVay strangely got out coached in this game.
Yeah, and they kept showing by a mile the Dolphins sideline temperature and then the Rams sideline temperature, and it was just a crazy difference. We always talk about these home dogs in Florida in a month where you don't think you're going to be facing heat, and it really does make a difference, especially in the second half. But really,
it was like a 60-degree difference. It was like 130 and 70 or something like that. It was pretty ridiculous.
It was insane.
Anyway, but another week, another dog, Sean. 50% on my dogs this year.
That's a good percent.
So do the math. We know it's plus odds. That's a hell of a way to win some money.
Well, and the Rams actually outgained the Dolphins 471 to 145. They had 31 first downs to the Dolphins 8, and they never felt like they were in the game after that. You know, once the Dolphins tied it up, it was kind of game on for the Dolphins.
Yeah, not much to add there other than I think that's something I would point out next week when we're talking about the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Rams, of course, on bye.
Green Bay 22, Vikings 28. We had Packers -7. Only pick we got wrong in the Circa contest. I thought Aaron Rodgers would be able to pass on this Vikings defense, and they even lost guys in the game, starting a bunch of rookies, and he just couldn't get it done. But really, it was about Green Bay's defense. Like Dalvin Cook just ran all over this fucking team. It's insane. I thought they'd be able to adjust. I thought they'd realize like, hey, load the box and just force Kirk Cousins to beat you, but they just couldn't get it done.
I feel like every time we watch a team not force Kirk Cousins to beat them, we're flabbergasted. But even before the 10 a.m. game started, Sean, I said, how many shares of Dalvin Cook do you have today? Because goddamn, that matchup is juicy.
Yeah.
And I had 1 share, you had 0 shares, and he just proceeded to roll off a classic Dalvin Cook game. You know what? In hindsight, this is the one that I'm not mad that I was on the Packers, because I would probably do it again. But and that situation with the defensive backs, like how did that turn out okay for the Vikings? Extra time for Zimmer, perhaps. But I probably wouldn't have been so bullish on the. I in hindsight, divisional game. This is like a Super Bowl for the Vikings. This is the division rivalry.
Well, yeah, and we've seen teams coming out flat off the bye, but now we see some teams coming out good, like
this
the Vikings.
Week 3-1 against the spread. The Ravens were the only team to fall flat there.
Buffalo 24, Patriots 21. Sham Newton. Although we picked it at Patriots 3.5, so. You had it correct. I lost on the Bills there.
Told you.
Sham Newton though.
Told you Vegas knew something.
I mean, that line felt about right. Bills feel a bit fraudulent,
Fishy.
maybe a little too high on the Bills, but this, I felt fine losing on the Bills at 3.5 because I'm just not going to back this Patriots team with Sham Newton.
Yeah.
And someone had a tweet I saw online where they went, "Wow, the Cam Newton sign going from evil genius to tank job pretty quick."
I mean, it's sure the roster's kind of fucked up and all that good stuff, but this team is, I mean,
3 in a row for Bill Belichick.
But close your eyes special, Sean. Another cash
Came through on the back door.
came through the back door. In a weird way, this game was never going to be anything other than a 3-point game.
Once the weather and it started getting ugly, but Kansas City 35, Jets 9. The Jets' highest played player on the field was Le'Veon Bell, and he was of course playing for the Chiefs. I mean, what do you say about this game? We were both on the Chiefs, as you should have been. Covered. And
is there any reason to not fade the Cowboys and Jets until something changes? No, right?
Jets 1-7, Cowboys 0-8. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, Hardman hilariously had a big game. Finally, I'd been going on him all year. I finally gave him up. He pops his head up. Nothing to add here, other than it seemed like for a little while the Jets were being scrappy, but of course, in classic Jet fashion, they find a way to not cover down the stretch.
Wow, and yeah, I mean, they didn't cover by 6, so yeah, they were in the mix though. Not a close your eyes special,
but it was sitting on 19 there, and it's like, wow, how did Vegas nail this so perfectly?
This was a great game. Ravens 24, Pittsburgh 28. Ryan, I think you have it a little backwards here on the sheet.
My bad.
Trying to give yourself another win there. I had the Steelers +4. You had the Ravens -4. Love the Steelers.
Yeah.
Here.
Fuck, I was wrong.
You know, I had some Steelers money line parlayed with the Dolphins. That was a nice 5-1 cash.
The Steelers team, man.
They just don't fuck around. And to me, it's about Lamar Jackson. The guy keeps coming up small. The same reason I bet on the Titans in the playoffs is the same reason I bet on the Steelers team. Like situationally, Ravens off the bye, yada yada. And I like the fact that these matchups are always close, or for the most part, it feels like a 3 or 4 point game. So why not take the undefeated team getting 4 points? Little nugget, Ryan. I was taking took my dog to a dog cafe. It's a coffee shop where they let dogs run around, and hanging out there, drinking a cup of coffee.
Coast,
you know, letting the dog run around, enjoy himself at the dog cafe. And I see another gentleman wearing some Ravens gear. I'm like, oh, I can actually talk to this guy about real guy shit. I'm like, oh, Ravens fan. You must be a huge Lamar Jackson fan. He goes, I'm like, what? I'm like, Lamar Jackson MVP. Like the guy's coming off. This is a few weeks ago. I'm like, it's coming off a huge year. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like, really? And he's like, I'm a huge Ravens fan. I was like, oh, I thought you'd be like chomping at the bit about how awesome Lamar Jackson is. And he's like, he's just not quite there yet. And he kind of plays down to his competition. And you saw that today. They asked Mike Tomlin on Lamar Jackson if he's surprised that the Steelers were able to force him into 2 interceptions and a fumble. Quote, Mike Tomlin, we've got respect for him, but we don't fear him. So we're not surprised by anything that transpires. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're scared of Lamar like some people are. And Ravens right now seem to be the team that dominates shitty teams, but can't get it done against good teams.
The gatekeeper. I mean, it's an interesting position this year with the way that the playoffs are going to pan out. They're definitely not in contention for the 1 seed anymore. And as we get down the stretch, I guess I'll be interested to see how this rushing offense looks down the stretch as shit gets cold and as teams start to get banged up.
Bengals 31, Titans 20. I had the Bengals +6. Should have went money line. They won 31-20 outright against the Titans. You had the Titans, Ryan. I mean, I didn't really think they were going to win, so I didn't have anything of them on the money line. But Man, this was an interesting stat that jumped out at me about this game. For the first time in Derrick Henry's NFL career, the Titans lose despite Derrick Henry running for 100+ yards. I think that's the first time that's happened for them.
It was a weird, right? Tannehill, some turnovers down in the red zone. It was the classic game where I'm guessing if we looked at the box score, we would say, "Wow, Tennessee wins this game more than they lose this game." So
I don't. To me, it was like a classic home dog. Like they played hard at home. Burrow's able to move the ball, and the Titans just don't have a defense. They just don't.
Yeah, you're right. No, I guess maybe commenting that the Bengals defense made some critical plays.
Yeah, turnovers, the key there, and Joey B getting a win and a cover.
Titans almost 100 yards more, 100 total yards more. So 7.4 yards per play as compared to 5.3. So certainly, again, this Titans team, they're when they're they're unlucky and then they're lucky, and it's so hard to get a read on this team.
Denver 31, Chargers 30.
Poor Justin.
San Diego Superchargers. Charge.
Oh no.
Man, it was just tough watching this game because I had that parlay.
Me and Sean are both trying our best to not proactively root for the Broncos.
I don't want to be rude.
And then Philip Lindsay busts through, and I just go, "Fuck yeah!" Sorry, Decker.
Then Decker was in the can when I think Judy had his one touchdown, or
he disappears to go. They score. The drive ends. They get a field goal or whatever. And then Denver immediately just drives down the field and gets a touchdown. He comes back into the garage to watch the extra point and just goes,
wow, that was quick.
Oh, that was quick. Yeah. And you could see and you could in his head, it was happening.
When Denver got inside the 30 there on that last drive, he just had his head down. Chargers have blown 16-point leads in 4 straight games. Here are some of the ones they've had overall that they've just blown. They were up 17-6 versus the Chiefs, which okay, I get that. 24-7 versus the Bucks. I mean, you forget they were winning that game in Tampa Bay. Like now Tampa's emerged as like the best team in the NFC, and they were beating them handily.
Perhaps that comeback is what the Bucks needed.
20-3 versus the Saints. How do you blow that? 24-3 versus the Broncos. Lost in all these games.
And some of these are good teams, you know?
Yeah. And Ryan, we were talking about it. You go, no one wants to see this Chargers team in the playoffs. And I just laughed. I'm like, dude, and you rattle out the schedule. Like they got got Broncos, whatever.
And, no, I mean they got to win games at some point. We saw the official statement from superfan Justin Decker.
He's calling for Lynn, and he's a reasonable Chargers fan, so it's bad times for him. Bears 23, Saints 26. Bears covered the number plus 4.5. Glad I didn't throw them in my dog.
So close.
Stewie T checking in on YouTube. It's way too late on the East Coast. Kind of drunk. Welcome. We're also kind of drunk walking through this this crazy week 8. God damn this Bears team. I mean, I wanted them to win. I threw a couple bucks on them live to get this W, but man, Nick Foles can't get rid of the ball. But really, I'm still blaming Nagy the most. Like the play calling for Nagy is just horrific.
Unbelievable. You can even see it in Nick Foles' eyes. He's pissed off. He's annoyed.
He's like trying to get them to run the hurry up. He got that deep ball to Mooney, and maybe I just need to know when to quit him. But I love them as getting those points.
Maybe we do need to quit him. But again, covered the spread. At a bit of a heater right now, Sean.
Yes.
Hot. Speaking of other things, we're hot on right now. We had Kansas City in the Survivor. We have advanced again. The raging majority pointing out that I think he's just patting himself on the back here. He's pointing out that he's got Chiefs, Steelers, Bucks, Seahawks, Ravens, and Packers left to play. Wow, dude's playing chess. We're just playing checkers.
Move on to the next week in Survivor. That's all you got to worry about.
1 week at a time, bro.
That Bears, Javon Wims punching that dude in the face, and we just retweeted. Someone broke down the whole thread because watching it live, you're like, "What the hell? Why did this guy punch this dude?" And there was a whole backstory where I guess earlier in the game, the defensive back ripped Javon Wims' mouth guard off, and then he didn't get a chance to retaliate. He sat on the bench for 10 minutes, finally got his chance,
and just punched him in the face.
Well, I think he was initially trying to like take out his mouthpiece, but then he was just trying to knock it out. And the guy who got punched by him said he punched like a female, which is kind of
we probably shouldn't be saying that, buddy.
Well, kind of owning yourself there, admitting you got punched by a chick. So.
Classless statement by a saint.
Stewie T pointing out that he took Eagles into Survivor. Dangerous play there, Stewie.
You know, there's a little bit where I was like, well, let's think about this. Sean will be really fired up for the podcast. That's good. Half of the Circa Survivor will be out. That was my saving grace. If the Eagles somehow were to blow this game, I'm like, well, gets me considerably closer to winning $1 million with Kramer in the Circa Survivor. We can drop another 20-25% if the Giants can upset the Bucks.
That's what fingers crossed.
We'll get to that.
Even though I bet Tampa Bay -11, Seattle 37, San Francisco 27. Ka-ching! My lock comes through.
Fortunately, they waited until unlimited, a little too deep into the game for Jimmy Garoppolo to dig a deep enough hole for Mullins not to be able to get out of it. Mullins is turning into like a Nick Foles super sub.
He came in and was able to move the ball against Seattle's shitty secondary. Although there were moments where Seattle played pretty decent defense, at least for them.
You know what?
But Russ and
just cooking.
Just cooking. I think we both had DK Metcalf in our DraftKings lineup this week, and that was probably my best play of the week. Like he was just a man on a mission. You know, that dude was just 2 touchdowns, dominant performance.
Yeah, nothing much to add other than Russ cooking. But I think we have to maybe be honest with ourselves, Sean, and maybe this team is pretty flawed, and we can't just blindly take them every week. It seems to work most of the time for us, though.
They've been great against the spread. Trey Larson pointing out a question we ask ourselves all the time here on the podcast: why do we still have guys punching other dudes with helmets on? It's a great question.
Yeah.
Again, if I was to get in an NFL fight or a football fight, which I've been involved in a couple, you just grab the face mask, drag him down, then start, punching the underbelly. Like a lot of these guys don't wear rib pads unless you're a quarterback. That's where you get some sweet shots in.
Yeah.
Punching a dude in the helmet.
Speaking of which, that scene after Russ took that questionable late hit in the San Francisco game,
that was great.
Whereas the entire team came over and just took care of business.
It was almost a badass move where normally if you shy away from a fight, you're kind of a pussy, but Russell Wilson just like took a step back and everyone on Seattle was like getting all in the face of the 49ers. It was kind of like a badass move. Like, yeah, my boys will take care of this.
It was like a mafia move. Godfather steps back.
I'm a capo. I'm a don. I'm not going to be involved with this bullshit.
I'm not using my hands. Come on.
The Philadelphia Eagles ride 23, Dallas 9. An ugly game, as predicted on the Dire Eagles podcast. I think I may have even one of us, I think on the podcast, the Eagles only podcast, threw out 24-10. So that was right in line. Just an ugly game. Wentz had some turnovers. The wind was getting involved with the deep ball.
I kid you not, Sean. As I was watching that game, kind of in the background, I was eating some dinner, doing some other things, grilling some steak like a real man. I couldn't help but have the same feeling I had when we had Iowa State on Saturday against Les Miles. It didn't seem like the cover was going to get there.
No,
but I had faith that they were going to find a way. And when that Eagle blitz right up the middle and the ball squirted out like a class in Berman, whoop! It's just like, of course. And of course they can't overturn the fact that he was down because you can't really tell if he has possession.
Yep.
It was just one of those plays where it's like, oh fuck yeah.
Well, and watching that play live, I didn't celebrate because I initially thought they were offsides. Now they showed the replay where Duke Riley clearly stopped before crossing into the neutral zone, did not go offsides.
Yeah, look, if there's
now you can make an argument of whether or not he was down, but shit's moving around there. They replay it live. I don't know.
I mean, it didn't matter. The Cowboys were playing with house money with some of the throws that DiNucci was making. He had the nose of the ball would point up a little bit, and he would throw these floaters that just. It was almost like you wanted to tell him to grip the ball a little bit more towards the middle of the football. Like he was gripping it. He was like too juiced up. Well, and so they were playing with house money. This team is absolute trash. I mean, just they got up as high as they're going to get up for a football game. The defense got up as high as they were going to get up. They played for their standards, an amazing game, and they still fucking lost, and they still didn't cover. How does Mike McCarthy keep
Ryan? Breaking news: I'm now 8-0 against the spread, picking Cowboys' games this year. How do I do it?
I think we both are. Right?
How do we do it, Ryan?
Our system has finally come in. I mean, in fairness, if someone could go back and look since 2011 to see what the Cowboys ATS record is,
I don't think it's that great.
But our system of always fade the Cowboys is really paying off in 2020. When we look back at all the horrible things that 2020 represents, it also could potentially represent the year that the Cowboys didn't cover a single fucking spread. Sean, imagine
this will be the highlight of 2020.
The yin and the yang. Let's go.
Well, and just talking to my dad on the group Eagles text there. A lot of comical anti-Italian things he was sending over about.
I don't know
Ben
about
DiNucci, greasy Italians. He sent me he sent me a screenshot of the Pep Boys logo and said he was the middle Pep Boys logo, which now I can't get that visual out of my head.
Feels a little racist.
He does.
Won't stand for
he
this,
does.
John.
The Pep Boys the middle Pep Boy really has a similar mustache, and I think my dad's onto something. Cowboys, they've now gone back-to-back weeks without an offensive touchdown. So congratulations. You got Zeke locked up for a long-term contract.
Sean, this is good. I was a little bit worried we might have been stumbling into a Tony Romo or some other accidental positive thing for the Cowboys, but it looks like DiNucci is. I don't know. You got a good.
He was who we thought.
No.
That's DiNucci. And Trey Larson in the YouTube pointing out last 21 games, Jets 7-14, Cowboys also 7-14. So Ryan, maybe there's the Cowboys. It's going to be a big boat trip for you guys.
I used to do this. I'm adding it back to the sheet, Sean. We're putting the locker back on the sheet.
Okay.
And we're gonna stuff the Cowboys and the Jets in the locker because we fade them every week.
Well, and last 21 for the Giants. Do we want to pull this up for them or no?
Well, Joe Judge is 4-3 against the spread. So I can tell you last 7.
They are 5-18 last. So actually almost worse than those teams.
But Joe Judge is different. All rise. Let's go, Sean.
All rise culture indeed. You guys want to all rise while you're up there. Head over to thrivefantasy.com. Get involved in some DFS player props. Ooh, man, love me some player props. We're going to give out some player props here in just a second. And if you want to play daily fantasy, just player props, Thrive Fantasy is the place to do it. Set a salary. You just pick over and under. It's just that simple. They do single game. They do whole NFL weekend slates. They give you 20 props. You pick your 10 favorites over under. It's just that easy. And if you use our promo code SGP, 100% deposit match. Not too shabby over at Thrive Fantasy. Download the app. Use that promo code SGP. Prop up today, baby. ThriveFantasy.com. Kramer, let's do it. Let's talk player props.
All right, Sean. First touchdown.
Sure, throw it out there. What do you got? So of course, it's for the Monday night game between
Bucks
the
Giants.
Bucks Giants.
If you look across the board, I don't want to get cute. I'm gonna go with a Bucks first touchdown. First of all, I know Garrett's pretty good at scripting those first 15. I'm very concerned about this one. And when you dive into what Tampa might be weak at, you see, maybe I attack the slot receiver, second receiver. I don't really like that for the Giants. Maybe you attack the slot receiver, secondary receiver. I don't know if I like that.
Slot. How's
Evans,
the slot?
I think actually it's Bradbury should do a decent job on him. So for me, it came down to, do I go with a running back or do I just take Gronk? Gronk is dominating the red zone targets the last 3 games. He's led the team in red zone targets all 3 of those games. He's 8-1 to be the first touchdown. And while it's a little short, I just think it's back to, I think Gronk has played his way back into game shape, and Brady, I just don't think he trusts Evans yet. he trusts Gronk. He trusts Scotty Miller. Maybe Scotty Miller's the right choice, but I'm going Gronk at 8-1.
Gronk. I can't argue with Gronk. I like him a lot in this game, but just to mix it up, I'm going to go
Cox.
Go a little longer on you, Ryan. I'm going to go Tyler Johnson plus 1600. Tyler Johnson back-to-back games with the touchdown, kind of getting involved, and I think he has a window here before Antonio Brown comes in and sucks up all these targets. Mike Evans, like for whatever reason, he's just not kind of the guy. Although weirdly, he had that game with 2 1-yard receiving touchdowns. I don't know what's happened to that, but I'm going to go Tyler Johnson at 16-1.
And where we're seeing my bookie early doesn't have the defense called out specifically. They do have any other Bucks player 20-1. I might wait until they publish the Bucks defense and do what I did tonight, Sean, on Sunday Night Football, where I picked the receiver and the defense from the same team, and I hit on Rager. So I'm going to probably double up with Gronk and the defense, because I think that, we know what Danny Dimes does with the football. All right. Prop number 1, Sean.
Yep. Lay it on me, Ryan. Ronald
Jones will have over 9.5 receiving yards. The Giants are not good defending the running back in the passing game, period. I do worry a little bit about Fournette's share of the snaps, but this is one catch. So over 9.5 receiving yards for Ronald Jones.
It feels like a Super Bowl where you're just playing one guy, one catch. And of course,
I mean, how does Ronald know? The only way Ronald Jones doesn't get over 9.5 receiving yards if he doesn't have a catch.
Yeah. Bruce Arians though has kind of said Leonard Fournette is their nickel back, meaning he's going to be out there for passing situations, but Ronald Jones should get a target, should get a look.
Ronald Jones is just better than Fournette.
Scotty Miller over 3.5 catches.
Okay.
That's plus 100. I mean,
I'm with you because
he's just a scrappy dude that's going to get those catches, man.
And when you look at the Giants, 32nd against the slot receiver in the National Football League.
How's the slot?
I attacked it with the yardage over 46.5 receiving yards. So I'm also on a Scotty Miller prop.
So you're going to over 46.5. All right. That makes sense. This one to me is easy. I know there's going to be they're going to get the running game a little bit, but Brady just likes to pick you apart right now. He's dialed in. Brady over 24.5 completions. It's just too easy.
And then the last one I'll give you, Daniel Jones over 25.5 rushing yards. He's gone over this total 4 out of 5. And I think the more this team and he comes to realize what's going on out there, you got to scramble. You got to scramble a little bit. And like I said, he's gone like 40 something, 80 something, 90 something. So he's starting to figure it out. Use his legs more. 25.5 yards over on the rushing total.
This is and shout out to mybookie.ag, promo code SGP. They've in their vast catalog of player props, they offer some head to heads, and I was going through those, and this one I really like. Leonard Fournette more rushing yards than Wayne Gallman at -150. Now I know Fournette may be involved in the passing game, whatever, but Gallman just sucks as a runner, and I don't mean to step on your close buddy who wished you a happy birthday, Ryan. But I just think Fournette, and you're paying -150, but how does Fournette not have more rushing yards than Wayne Gallman?
Well, if you feel as disrespected as I do, one of the things you could do is you could bury your tears into a Degen's prop of Wayne Gallman over 120 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. No Giants win with that one. 283-1. Not what I'm going to be throwing out as my Degen's only. Sean, by the way, I have a selection here of Degen props because there's so many. What I ended up settling on is not like crazy long. Like I'll give you, if you're a Giants fan and you want to have some fun, what you do is you take the Sterling Shepard to have 150 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns at 260.
Okay, so that's your Degen's only prop.
Bucks. No, because the Giants are going to do nothing tomorrow. Do absolutely nothing. No chance.
So
to
give
win
us
this game.
the Degen's
Ronald
only
Jones, 120 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. 22.
Degens only.
22-1.
22-1.
Yeah.
Is that?
I mean, if you're gonna come with a Giants prop, you're just burning your money.
No, but I feel like we need to give people. To me, a Degen's only prop is 50 50 to 1 and more. That's how I define
parlay Gronk to have 2 touchdowns and Tampa Bay to win, which is 10 to 1 with Ronald Jones over 120 and 2 touchdowns, 22 to 1.
All right. Well, I'll give you a more realistic one. It's 75 to 1. Gronk 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
See, I the yardage scares me. That's a lot of yards for Gronk.
That's why it's 75 to 1.
A lot of yards for Gronk.
All it takes is Gronk to break one of these.
But if I was gonna no.
So what is your official Degen?
DM me if you want some more.
What's your official
Ronald
Degen
Jones 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 to 1.
Okay, that's not really a Degen's only prop though.
Hashtag Degens only.
Throw a C note on it. Not a bad Monday.
All right, we're gonna put together a NFL showdown lineup for the Monday night slate. Before we do, I want to shout out Ace Per Head, baby. Ever thought about starting your own sports book? All your buddies talking about all the money they're losing. They're losing to some other guy. That other guy could be you. That's right. Now is the perfect time to start a small business. Make 2020 your year. To get your sportsbook going, just go to aceperhead.com/SGP. aceperhead.com/SGP. Very simple. Sign up there. They give you your own website. Very easy. They set the lines. They grade the lines. All you got to do, find the customers. aceperhead.com/SGP. aceperhead.com/SGP. Up to 6 weeks free of their amazing sportsbook software. Ryan, who do you got in the captain spot?
I'm staying with the theme. Gronk. You made fun of my 10 to 1 Degen's prop of Gronk to put 2 touchdowns in. But
no, Degen's prop is not 10 to 1, right? We have to define Degen's prop.
If you put maybe a stack of high society on it, then you're a Degen.
No, I also have Gronk as the prop bet. I mean, he's involved in the red zone.
The captain.
He's I got him in the captain spot. He's my Degen only. It's a lock. I also got Brady as my quarterback. He's a good quarterback.
I went quarterback.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
Interesting strategy.
I went Ronald Jones in the second spot.
Okay.
I do think that he's going to have a game against the Giants.
See, I went double quarterback. I got Danny Dimes at 9,200. He's my only Giant, and I think the rushing yards make him kind of valuable.
Then I went Scotty Miller.
Okay.
Really
I'm also on Scotty Miller.
Bucks defense
8,600.
Yep, Bucks defense for 7,400. Touchdown.
Wow,
coming.
that is crazy.
Touchdown coming.
That is crazy for a DraftKings defense to be 7,400.
Have you watched this defense play?
Yeah, they're
gonna
good.
Murder this offensive line. This is Sean. I wrote it down because I didn't want to mess it up. But the Giants are 32nd in line yards. 32nd in line yards against the number 2 team in line yards with the Bucks and number 2 rush defense. This is just it's a bloodbath waiting to happen. Ndamukong Suh might hurt someone. So next up, Shepard. I think there's a chance. I will be on my crazy Shepard prop. I think there's a chance. There is a weakness in this Bucks defense for a receiver to get off. So I went Shepard 6,600.
Leonard Fournette, I also have here 6,200. I think he could be involved in the passing game. And
last guy for me, Evan Ingram, revenge spot. Evan Ingram. Look, here's what kills me.
Wait, why is it a revenge spot? Was he drafted by the Bucks or something?
No, like revenge, so he doesn't get taken on the boat and murdered by all.
Oh, but why would they do that? I mean, the Giants welcome shitty players with open arms. I mean, have you seen Gettleman's strategy? He's not in trouble.
So
he's not on the hot seat.
Oh, but
there's no accountability in the Joe Judge era.
Evan Ingram. Oh, stop it. Evan Ingram's on the hot seat.
What hot seat?
Evan Ingram's
they're not trading
5,800.
They said they're not trading him.
Here's they're protecting the player. Here's the problem. The matchup. When you look at the matchup, you have to play the tight end for the Giants. You can play Caden Smith. Maybe that's the smarter move. Caden Smith to get 2 touchdowns. That's a fun Degen prop. Anyway, Evan Ingram 5,800.
My final player, Cameron Brate. He gets some interesting red zone looks, and he's only $1,400. Allows you to do a lot of other.
He is also a recent TB12 adopter. So
yes,
open mouth kissing. Fucking wheel, man.
Tom seems to like to slip him some avocados there while making out with him. Wow, what a week 8, Ryan. If this didn't get you to rate, review, and if you're listening to this right now, it's probably still time to get in a review for Merch Monday.
Maybe, yeah.
Again, I've been pulling reviews from our iTunes feed, and you can just get that Sports Gambling Podcast, Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star review or a 4-star review. Best of luck winning Merch Monday with a 4-star review. I have a feeling that won't work out for you, but pick some of the favorite reviews, tweet them out at Gambling Podcast. If it's yours, you win some free merch.
And by the way, Sean, we didn't even tout how the wicked awesome college run we're on too. So, or at least me. Maybe it's more of just a.
Well, I did hit my bonus lock, and
I swept the locks this weekend. If you just parlayed my locks,
I put Air Force in my locks. Shouldn't have done that because I bet a ton on Michigan State.
You love America. I get it.
I do. I get sucked in by the service academy and the great folks and the Air Force.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
We did it, Ryan. Continue to dominate against the spread, and we're doing it all for free. All the awesome content on our website completely free. Our entire podcast network completely fucking free. The content train keeps rolling along, keeps giving you winners week after week. All we ask is, support the sponsors where appropriate and subscribe to the podcasts. Spread the word. Tell people. Get the word of mouth is how this thing is growing and staying alive. And appreciate everyone doing what they can to turn people onto the podcast. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Go Giants tomorrow night, Sean.
Kramer, let it ride.